Welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and Nick Caserio, the Texans general manager, pulled off highway robbery this past offseason. I'll tell you what exactly he did and how he's setting up the Texans for the next 3 to 4 seasons of dominance. Thank you all for joining me here on today's show. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join us for daily Texans videos. And how Nick Caserio absolutely pulled off highway robbery is this. He drafted 2 absolute ballers in the secondary, and nobody seems to notice or care at the moment right now. I mean, Kamari, Lassiter, Calen, Bullock, both these guys absolutely balled out this year for the Houston Texans. Both rookies, but they're both playing like seasoned vets right now. And this Texans secondary looks like it's set up for the foreseeable future, especially if the Texans are able to lock down Derek Stingley Jr. This unit is going to be one of the best for years to come in the National Football League. And speaking of Kamari Lassiter, a little highway robbery, it also happens to be that young man's birthday. So if Kamari Lassiter comes across this video, I want him to see nothing but HBDs in the chat. Happy birthday to the Rook. I guess not rookie anymore now that the season's over. Kamari Lassiter, can't wait to watch you absolutely just slam your helmet, make some huge plays next year for the Houston Texans. You balled out this year, and us Texans fans appreciate you. If you appreciate Kamari Lassiter and want to wish him a happy birthday, go down in the comments section and spam those HBDs. Now, let's look a little bit closer at Lassiter and his numbers on the season because they were fantastic. In his rookie year for the Houston Texans, Kamari Lassiter had 58 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 3 interceptions. Something huge because coming out of Georgia, that was his biggest knock in the NFL draft, was his ability to create turnovers and catch the football. 3 interceptions on the season. Also got another one in the postseason up against the Chargers, and 10 pass breakups and a completion percentage against of 43.8. And that was the lowest completion percentage by opposing quarterbacks in the NFL as a rookie. And among the top, I believe it was among the top, if not the very top, in the entire NFL. So Kamari Lassiter, even as a rookie, is proving that he belongs in this league. And not only, balled out as a rookie this season, but I mean, just in general as an NFL cornerback, Kamari Lassiter, in my opinion, was one of the best in the entire league. Him and Derek Stingley, that duo is scary for years to come. But let's talk about his running mate, the other rookie that the Texans were able to commit highway robbery with this past draft, Calen Bullock out of USC. I mean, dude was an absolute stud. 54 tackles. Didn't have any tackles for loss, but 5 interceptions on the season, tied with Derek Stingley for the lead for the Houston Texans, and 11 pass breakups on the year, a completion percentage against 42.9. He was a stud. And as I mentioned, tied with Derek Stingley for the lead for Texans interceptions on the season. He was actually also tied for 6th most in the entire NFL this season with those 5 interceptions. And let's be honest, he could have easily had a couple more under his belt if a couple balls go his way. He almost got that amazing diving interception up against the Green Bay Packers. He had a couple more opportunities to get interceptions. Calen Ballhawk, I mean, he was an absolute, menace out there on the back end, and exactly what the Texans needed for their deep coverage. I think those 2 guys are going to be special in this league under DeMeco Ryans, this defense. They are both fantastic. But like I said, the NFL, the league's not even noticing them. The Defensive Rookie of the Year finalists just got announced. It's Cooper DeJean, Braden Fisk, Quinyon Mitchell, Chop Robinson, and Jared Verse. So I ask you, get down in the comments. Did Lassiter and Bullock get snubbed from Defensive Rookie of the Year? I mean, no tea, no shade, no pink lemonade to these guys. But Lassiter and Bullock, I think, are better than every single person on this list. They should at least be finalists on that list. I 1,000% think they got snubbed. But at the end of the day, it's just another trophy. It's just another, accolade that, at the end of the day, who remembers the Defensive Rookie of the Year 5 years ago? Not many people. But the good thing is the Texans defense is set up for the next 3 to 4 seasons with this great talent. You have Derek Stingley, Will Anderson Jr., Kamari Lassiter, Calen, Bullock, just to name the few. This is going to be your foundation that you build this defense around. These 4 young guys really prove a very bright future for the Texans moving forward. And coming up, how the Texans are going to build off of this core this offseason going into next year, and how they can really solidify this group, this defensive unit going into next season. Before I tell you about those guys and before I break down anything else, got to tell you about the sponsor of today's program in Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app out there with over 5 million active members. Hell, over 10 million active members so far. I mean, Prize Picks is the best place to go to win real money action this football season. And hey, football season, it's almost over. The big game is almost here, and it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last football game of the season with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching this big game. And Prize Picks is also giving away a free pick this weekend. They're also giving one away during the big game. But let's talk about this weekend first. Jaden Daniels. All he has to do is get 1 passing yard to win. If you're correct on at least one more stat projection, you can win real cash. And this is the lineup that I put together for the NFC Championship game on Sunday. Jaden Daniels, have that amazing promo with Prize Picks. All he has to do is get 1 yard. I also went Terry McLaurin to get a rushing or receiving touchdown. I did the more on that. And A.J. Brown did the more on a rushing or receiving touchdown. You can use my picks. Go against them. Just do it over on Prize Picks. Download the app today and use that code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Like I said, sign up today. All you got to do, play your first $5 lineup, and you get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. So get started today with our friends over at Prize Picks. Run your game. Now, let's look at some of the Texans' key free agents on the defensive side of the football. Because like I said, you have your young core. You have your good nucleus of guys on the defensive side. But these guys all made plays for the Texans this season. Eric Murray stepped in big time with the injuries to Ward and Petrie, who we'll get to in just a moment. Mario Edwards Jr. had a really good season for the Texans on the interior of this defensive line. Same with Foley Fatukasi. Derek Barnett got 2 touchdowns on the season, was a good rotational pass rusher for this team. So all these guys being free agents, you're going to have to, maybe bring 1 or 2 of these guys back. It's going to be picking and choosing. I would really like to at least keep 1 of these 2. Maybe you can't sign them both. But if you could at least bring back either Mario Edwards Jr. or Foley Fatukasi, I would love that move for the Houston Texans. Because like I said, both these guys really thrived in the DeMeco Ryans defense this season. Another key that the Texans really found this season is in safety Jalen Petrie. They put him in the slot. You got to keep him there. He absolutely thrived in that role as that nickel star slot role, kind of a hybrid linebacker, safety, slot corner mix. He absolutely balled out. I mean, producer Justin was telling me, hit stick Petrie, big play Petrie, pop and patch Petrie, pad popping Petrie. I mean, however you want to put it, he was laying dudes out all year long until he got injured. That's another key for the Texans if you really want to, build off this year and have a defense that scares people going into next season. But something that they really need to look at this offseason is they need another cover safety and better corner depth going into next season, especially if you don't re-sign Eric Murray. I mean, he was really big down the stretch for this Texans team when they needed him. With all the injuries at safety, he was a big addition for this team, and he played a major role. So you need another cover safety, and that corner depth really came to bite you in the butt. Miles Bryant, Jeff Okudah, D'Angelo Ross, a lot of those guys really didn't cut it as, Texans depth pieces, especially for the couple games that Kamari Lassiter was injured. If you needed somebody, help in the slot as well, the depth just wasn't there for the Houston Texans. Luckily for them, the free agent class in the secondary is insane this upcoming year in the NFL. I mean, here are all the free agent safeties that are available for the Houston Texans to pick and choose from. Now, Jevon Holland, I think he gets the biggest payday out of everybody on this list. But there's a lot of names in here that you could maybe get on a, cheaper one-year contract or maybe a cheaper couple-year deal. You have Justin Simmons with the Falcons who signed a cheap one-year deal. Tre'Von Moehrig with the Raiders, he might be looking for a little bit more money getting his first contract after his rookie deal. But you have former Texan Justin Reid in there. Harrison Smith, who's a veteran, who's really good. Camryn Bynum was good with the Vikings this season. A lot of really good names here at safety. And as well, at cornerback, there's a lot of guys who are available in free agency who the Texans can pick and choose from. DJ Reid, I think he might be a little bit, too expensive for the Texans. Same with Charvarius Ward. But possibly, what about names like a Nate Hobbs, Mike Hilton, Carlton Davis, maybe, Asante Samuel Jr., to name a few. I know some of these guys might be out of the Texans' price range, but as you see, there are a ton of options for teams who need secondary help, and I think the Texans could definitely use to add another guy in the secondary this offseason, either in free agency or in the draft. And that comes back to Nick Caserio. He pulled off highway robbery this past draft. He's going to need to do the same thing this year and be very cerebral with their offseason picks, because I don't know how their big board lines up in the NFL draft, but depending on who they really like, that could really, switch how they attack free agency, because a lot of low-key signings for the Texans really worked out. You saw a couple that I mentioned that are free agents this year. Foley Fatukasi, Mario Edwards Jr. Both of those guys were under-the-radar signings by the Texans who made big contributions throughout this year. And as I'm looking at the Texans' top needs, I was joking with producer Justin before the show. The top two needs for the Texans are offensive line and offensive line. You need to address those positions, whether that's in the draft or free agency, maybe a little bit of both for that position. But, you also need to look at what are you going to do at wide receiver. You more than likely won't have Tank Dell next season. Stephon Diggs is a free agent. You're really only running back Nico Collins, Mechie, and Hutchinson. Robert Woods also a free agent going into this offseason. You need that secondary depth, and then like I said, you'll need offensive and defensive line help as well. So the Texans, they need to make some moves happen, and they need a little bit more highway robbery going into this season. Hopefully Nick Caserio can work his magic again this offseason and get some more ballers for this Texans team. That's all I have for you on today's show. If you haven't already, you made it to the end of the video, why not hit that sub button for daily Texans videos all year long, bringing it to you here on the channel, here at Texans Today, 100% free all year long, your one-stop shop for Texans news and rumors.